Und herzlich willkommen hier aus dem Paradies in Thailand. Ja, mich hat es selber gestern Nacht von Sonntag auf Montag überrascht bei meinen Recherchen zum Thema Tanzverbot, Adam, aka Skyline TV und quiteLola. Da bin ich zu Redempton in Live mit dabei gewesen und habe mir das Ganze angeschaut. Und heute Nachmittag habe ich nochmal in seinem Livestream mit ihm nochmal gesprochen und mich erkundigt, ob es in Ordnung ist, seinen Livestream hier zu benutzen, um eine Reaction zu machen. Ja, um welches Thema geht es? Es geht um quiteLola ausschließlich. In meinen Livestreams schon bekannt gegeben habe und mir ganz klar Stellung bezogen habe, wie ich gehört habe nach dem Video von Tanzverbot, dass ich starke Zweifel habe, dass Tanzverbot lügen würde. Da habe ich mich festgelegt. Bei Adam war ich mir nicht so sicher. Okay, ich bin auch ein kleiner Techniknah und habe diesbezüglich ihn jetzt vorab mal ein wenig rausgenommen. Andererseits mit seinem Statement war es schon irgendwie komisch. Ja, von der Seite aus will ich jetzt dazu nicht näher eingehen, weil ich noch dabei bin, das Video dazu zu machen. Aber wie wir gestern gehört haben, im Livestream vom Redempton, da ist es ganz schön abgegangen. Und ja, ich habe die Eier, Grüße gehen raus an mit Kuchen TV und Tanzi, ich versuche hiermit auch dich jetzt ein wenig reinzuwaschen, um die Wahrheit über die quiteLola zu zeigen. Und mir macht es hier in Thailand überhaupt nichts aus. Hier können mir die Anwälte von ihr nichts verbieten. Hier in Thailand haben wir ein anderes Gesetz als in Deutschland. Dazu kommt noch eins dazu, bei einer meiner letzten Livestreams, wo ich auch zu einem Kollegen geradet habe, der quiteLola auch in Thailand kennengelernt hat, wollte sich zu dem Thema nicht genauer äußern. Sein Statement einfach nur dazu, ja, und jetzt Obacht geben, das hätte ich Tanzverbot vorher schon sagen können. Ja, er will weiterhin nicht genannt werden, deswegen lassen wir ihn da außen vor. Ich möchte das Ganze nicht zu lange aufhalten, weil den Livestream, den ich soweit noch zusammengeschnitten habe mit deutschen Untertitel, Stream ab und wir schauen uns den Livestream an, der sich in der Nacht vom Sonntag auf Montag thailändischer Zeit, und haltet euch fest, es wird hart und auch für eine Lola, die versucht, einen psychisch angeschlagenen Streamer, der in finanzielle Not ist, mundtot zu machen. Und das in einer Demokratie. Ja, da habe ich mir dann gesagt, das kann nicht sein. Und habe dazu jetzt eben dieses Video hochgeladen.
That's fine, you know. So I like the first couple times that I went there, I got like a room in Düsseldorf, and she would come to me in the room, and we would chill there and stuff, and then eventually she would visit Amsterdam more. And this is all, like, if you don't believe, you can just go check my content. She was in Amsterdam all the time when we were first kind of dating and stuff like that, and I went to Düsseldorf a few times. Then there was this big Denmark trip. So the trip when Soek came over to Amsterdam and everything went so well, we all clicked together. He invited me, Soek invited me, Leanie Walks, and Lola to Denmark to a beach house, but in the beach of Denmark, so fucking cold, and it was in November, right? And so we all went up to this beach house together, and that's when, like, you know, we were hooking up by then and all this other shit, and it was like a big road trip. Lola drove and all this other stuff. Is Tanzververbot in here? Hello, buddy. If you're in here, hi. I know you can't say anything, but you gave me a follow. Hello. If you ever want to talk to me after all this stuff is over, I'm totally willing to talk to you. There's no hard feelings for me whatsoever. This shit is so far behind me. It's just now is the first time I'm ever being able to tell this story, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it. And once all your legal shit is over, man, you know, just be careful, and I'll be happy to talk to you later. But now, I am with hooking up. You mean, what the fuck do you mean hooking up? Bible study. What the fuck do you mean? Well, you see, when mommies and daddies like each other very, very much, all right. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean hooking up? He said, sorry for the 10 euros. Apology accepted. Lola lied about her age. No, I've seen her ID. I know how old she is. I know she lies about her age. Anyway, listen. As far as I'm concerned, all is forgiven. I know that Tanzververbot and his community, they're a little bit kind of shit stirrers. I know how you guys are, but I don't fault you for it. I don't get mad at you for it. I know how German streamers are. It's a different dynamic than anywhere else. It's very trolly. It's like the kind of the way you guys go about it, and so it's for me it was no hard feelings. All right, so it's all good. I have thicker skin than that about the tenor. It's fine, but that is why I never gave him a warning. When he sent that tenor, I was like, all right, you have fun. Good luck. I didn't say shit to him. I was like, okay, thanks for the 10, man. And I said to like some of my friends, like in real life, I said like, man, as soon as shit goes south with him and Lola, I'm gonna send him a 10 back in his channel and said, heard you might need this. But I decided ultimately when it happened, I was like, nah, it wouldn't be nice to do it. But I thought about it, just so you know. And you know what they say, it's the thought that counts. Anyway, after the Denmark trip, then it was like, she was like, you know, you can come to the apartment and stuff. And I went to the apartment and I got to meet Ingram. Ingram was her boyfriend, and as far as I knew, they weren't broken up. As far as I could tell, they weren't broken up. Ingram paid all the rent in that apartment. It was a one-bedroom apartment. They slept in the same big bed together. And her form of paying the rent was by doing the dishes and cleaning up around the house. Her words. Ingram was the nicest fucking dude, and I felt like a monster afterwards. Because I was led to believe that, no, there's not really a relationship. You know, I'm going to turn these alerts down a little bit. Listen, thank you everybody for the subs and support. This is incredibly kind of you. This is unbelievable. I will thank you all individually if I can in a moment. But for now, let me just get this story out, okay? So I'm just going to turn my alerts down, okay? So I feel really bad for Ingram because, look, she told me that they weren't together. Like, I have a boyfriend, but we broke up. But it's a little sticky because we still live together. And, like, I'm sleeping on the couch and stuff. She wasn't. And, you know, it was some shit like this, man. And when I got there, it was like, he was confused as to why she wasn't going to sleep on the bed that night. And she was like, no, I'm staying up, we're hanging out on the couch. And she ended up, like, she would pass out on the couch where I would sleep in that apartment when I stayed over there. And act like she accidentally fell asleep while we were watching a movie. But really, we were hooking up on the couch while he was over there. And it was really uncomfortable for me, but I'm also a dude, so like whatever, you know, and I was already knee deep in this situation. It's like in for a penny, in for a pound. I've never done anything like this before in my life, and it's right here in front of me. What do? Just fucking say, this is fucked up, and just fucking tell him right in front. Like, I probably should have done that, right? We could have ended all of this then if I did it then, honestly. I should have just fucking cried this shit from the rooftops the moment I fucking knew about it, honestly. I'm only just now realizing this, actually. I should have just said something immediately. This is all my fault, really. Like, me getting almost canceled over, it was all my fault for just letting it ride. I just now realized this. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. Ingram, I'm really sorry. Wherever you are, if you're ever watching this or something, dude, I'm really sorry. I really love that guy. I thought he was so fucking cool. I thought he was so fucking cool, man. But I continued on. I didn't say, hey, look, this is fucked up, I don't want to do this. I just continued on. But I also felt a little bit trapped because I was making content and we were trending. We were going high in viewership. I got partnered quick, and it wasn't because of her. I was getting partner already. But then she started getting partner as well right afterwards. Like, I boosted her. Like our whole dynamic was working very well at first. But then after I found out about Ingram existing and meeting that wonderful guy who was a really hard worker, who had a really fucking good job, he was fit as fuck. That guy could have snapped my neck, by the way, but he never did. And you know what? Honestly, I genuinely have a feeling that he must have known. He had to have known. Like, if he didn't know, he was the dumbest motherfucker on planet Earth because we weren't really hiding it. It's not like we kissed in front of him or anything like that, but we weren't really, like, it was, like, honestly, any other guy would have been like, all right, how come this guy keeps sleeping on the couch and you keep falling asleep on the couch? No, none of this. I would have been dumb. I would have fucking came in and be like, get the fuck out of my apartment to me. I would have said that. Like, so, like, I have a feeling, like, that maybe he just knew about it or maybe it's his thing, you know? Okay. Let me take a deep breath. You're right. Let me take a deep breath. Obviously, I still have a lot of energy about this subject, man, because this is something that I've had to hold inside me for so long. It almost ruined my career. Half of the fucking streamers on Twitch thought I was a fucking thief over this. I felt so fucking abandoned afterwards too. When all that shit happened, and then immediately afterwards, all of the big IRL streamers who would normally talk to me immediately went and collabed with her, went and visited in Germany just to go have a collab with her, not talk about the situation, but just like go boost her. And it was just like, it was their way of saying whose side they took on this and who they believed without saying it out loud or saying any, without making an actual stance. Like, they just like, that was Cook Sucks, Jay Streezy, and a handful of other big streamers. They all said that, and honestly, from that point forward, I kind of wrote them off. I was like, I guess we're not friends, you know, I guess you believe that, you know? And it was really, really disappointing for me. Like, it really hurt my feelings a lot, and I just had to swallow that and just take it. And, you know, I still had to look at those people at TwitchCon and see them and stuff like that and just act like nothing happened. And nothing did happen, but they thought, or whatever, I just could tell, man, just the way that they acted towards me afterwards and stuff. It was just, everyone kept me at arm's distance from that point on. Everyone kept me at arm's distance. And anytime I collab with another streamer, there would be Lola fans going into their channel. They would follow me for a year just to go into their channel and be like, watch out for Redempto, keep your wallet on you, he's gonna rob you and shit like that. They were saying shit like that about me for ages, you know? It was just making it so hard for me to do anything on Twitch, to the point where eventually I was just like, I'm not collabing anymore. It's a huge part of what made me say, like, I don't talk to other streamers, I barely even raid anymore. Because every time I would send my viewers to another streamer, there are people that hate watch me that would immediately start saying trash talk about me in a stream that I raid and stuff. So it just kind of like, because of her community, it just kind of fucking just edged me out of this world. And I've always just been, dude, I fell into streaming. I was a software engineer that got a burnout. And I was just like, I couldn't program anymore. I was getting panic attacks looking at a computer screen. And I started streaming for fun when I was gaming and living off my savings for a couple months. And I fell into streaming. People told me to go outside because you live in Amsterdam. What's wrong with you? No one wants to watch you play Yakuza. Go outside. I did, and it fucking blew up. You know, I just fell into it. I never was like, I'm going to be a streamer. I want attention. I want to be big. I was never like that. It was just like I fell into this thing, and I had this small community of people who loved sharing conversations with me, and it slowly grew and stuff, and it was, I kind of just fell into it. It was never like a desire of mine. But then once I like, it started like picking up, and I was like, hey, wow, this is like something viable for me. Someone just came and just took it away from me, just pulled it from under my feet over some petty nonsense that wasn't true, that was just over their own like, what is the word for this? Their own to keep their own dignity, to like just kind of destroy someone else so that they don't feel like they've been abandoned or left or something like that, because that's what happened. You know, it's just like, just get me canceled to put all the attention that way so she wouldn't receive any blame for what she did, because she did a lot of bad shit. And I already said from the beginning, I was like, I'm not going to say anything. I was like, let's just make a clean break and split up and not say anything, and that'll be fine. And I did, and it went a month by with nothing happening, you know? And then she started some drama with me. But let's get back to that story, right? So eventually, like, I was just like, I gotta find a way out of this situation. She has a boyfriend, and I'm in this in a film theater relationship with her, and I don't want to be in this anymore. And also, resentment is growing. She's starting to be bitchy towards me. I'm starting to like have short tempers to her. I'm like just walking away from her on stream, like, I can't take this, like doing that kind of shit. My community was being like, what the fuck is going on? Everyone fucking hated her. Everyone in my community fucking hated her guts, except for the people that wanted to fuck her. Everyone else fucking hated her guts. And they didn't want to say it because they're my community and they love me. So they don't want to say like, hey, I fucking hate your girlfriend. Can you please dump her so we can get back to the cool shit? You know, like it was really like that, you know? And so where it all came to a head was King's Day 2021. Okay? King's Day 2021, that would be King's Day was just yesterday or day before in Amsterdam or in the Netherlands. So a couple years back, 2021 King's Day. Lola comes to Amsterdam for King's Day, stays with me. Things are already not great. We're already arguing and stuff like that. Things are getting worse and worse, okay? All right? You told my friend a lot more about Lola than what you were saying here. Well, who's your friend, Offhawk? I don't know. First of all, I find it hard to believe you have friends. And by the way, we're in the timeline of this story. In the timeline of this story, she and I are still together. All right. Anyway, I'm just gonna put this away. You guys can have your commentary all you want, but it's gonna distract me from the story. So King's Day, she's over. We're already arguing. When the King's Day festivities are beginning, it was like, all right, here's what we're gonna do. We are going to. It's a big fucking crowd. It's gonna make no sense for two of us to walk around with our cameras together. We should go split up. And that's what I said. It was my nice way of trying to be like, let's have a little time apart. And then I said, let's converge and come back in like an hour or 2 hours, meet up with each other and talk about all the crazy shit we saw. It was like my idea of like a constructive way of trying to change the way that our dynamic was, you know, for this. Like, let's try and make it work, you know, like we have to try, because I'm streaming, you know, like I can't have some fucking crash out on stream like this, because it was just crazy shit, you know. It was more than once that we had some dramatic crash outs where she ran away and shit like that. And like one time she was like running to my apartment about to dox me on stream, like running to my apartment on stream, walking to my house so that I would chase her and catch up with her to get her to raid, so she would go to my house without showing my apartment and stuff like that. She did that to me once. Anyway, there's so many little stories, man. But it continues on. We split up, and I'm streaming for like an hour, and I was like, hey guys, let's see what Lola's up to. I open up my Twitch app, and Lola's not online. And I'm like, oh, she hasn't gone online yet. I wonder if there's anything wrong with her stuff. I sent her a message. Everything cool? You having problems with your stream? No message. And then one of my mods, Wicked Mouse, is like, hey, Lola's online, but not on her channel. She's streaming with Arab. And I was like, cool. Who the fuck is Arab? Because I don't know streamers. It was my first year. I don't know anybody, you know? I don't know anybody. So instead of going out and doing that stuff, she went on Twitch. She searched for Amsterdam on Twitch and found who's the biggest fucking streamer in Amsterdam right now, who at the time was definitely Arab with a couple thousand viewers. And she just went and sniped him, sat down, flirted with him, and hung out with him for the entire day, ignored my messages. She had my keys, by the way, because in the beginning before we split up, she said, I'm probably going to be done with the day before you. I'm going to go home early, and you're probably going to be out later, so please let me just have the keys. And I'll just, you know, and I said, are you sure? She's like, yeah, for sure, I'm going to be home before you. I said, okay. That is a very important part to the story that you're going to need to know later. You're going to need to know in a little bit. So she had my keys. She ends up hanging out with Arab all day. I'm like, fine, whatever. She's out of my hair, honestly. But I was thinking, like, this is the beginning of the end. And I was thinking, like, man, I really hope she gets into him, because then I won't have to deal with her anymore. So, and that's exactly what happened. She spent the whole day with him, and then I couldn't find her. Like, at some point, it was like 2 a.m. I was like, I'd like to get my keys now. I'm ready to go home. And so I had to, like, try and find her and stuff. And then finally, she gets a hold of me and stuff. And then, I'm like, yeah, I'm at Light Supply. Can you come over there? Like, oh yeah, we'll be there in a few minutes. I'm like, okay, whatever. She shows up with Arab. They got their arms around each other and shit like that. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. This is great. And honestly, like, I wasn't that hurt about it, because really I was dying to find a way out of this relationship at this point. I was like dying for it. Especially with like the whole keys thing, I was livid at that point, because it was like, yo, you're leaving me without my keys and you're a guest in my house. This is like completely disrespectful and fucked up, man. But she has rich-ass parents, she doesn't. And she gets high-grade cocaine. I've never been into that kind of stuff. Anyway, so, here's the thing. She gives me the keys, Arab rated her, and she was streaming, right? And then she rates me with all of the viewers, right? And all the viewers were Arab viewers. So like, yo, Arab stole your girlfriend. And I was like, no, he stole my problem. He took my problem. He didn't take my girlfriend, he took my problem. I was like, okay. I met him briefly. He said some weird shit, like the McDonald's was closed, and he's like, there's still people in there. Maybe you should try knocking on the door, get it open, we can get some free food. I was like, what? Why? He's like, social engineering, it'd be funny, bro. And I was like, I literally said to him, I was like, that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. I was like, what is this? And I think he just thought I was butthurt because he was hanging out with Lola. But I had so much stuff to keep in that I could not say out loud. All the Ingram stuff, all the stuff in her home, all that shit. There was so much more to it as well. Like, basically, like, her personality, her home life and upbringing and stuff is all very tragic and not nice, and it was all red flags that was like, I need to get out of this thing. You're like, I'm not going to get into the details of it, but she did not have a great upbringing and stuff like that. And so on a certain level, I also really do feel bad for her. I really do. But not after she tried to ruin my life. Then it was just like, oh, to hell with her, you know? Like, just because you had a bad upbringing doesn't mean you get to go run around fucking with people's lives unchecked and shit like that, you know? Like, that's not a license to do that shit. But anyway, once that happened, I got my keys back and everything like that. I was like, I'm gonna go home. And she's like, oh, I'm gonna continue hanging out with Arab. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, we're gonna have one more drink and then I'm gonna go home. And I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. So I go out streaming. I make my way home. I raid out, and then I go home. And then like an hour or two, she gets home. Like, I had to wake up to open the door for her. You know, I was just like, whatever. I'm going to sleep. And then she came home, slept in the bed with me and stuff like that. The next day, I said to her, I was like, yo, TwitchCon is not happening. Like, you can't stay with me at TwitchCon. The next day I just said it straight up. I was like, look, this isn't working out. What we're gonna do is a clean break. You know, we don't have to do any like, I don't want to do any drama. I'm not gonna say anything bad about you. I'm just gonna let this fucking go, and let's just split up, man. Obviously we're not good for each other, you know. And she said, all right, fine, you know. And then she just booked a ticket to Germany and left immediately. And then I never saw her again. Okay. And this was 2021 King's Day. I never saw her in person again. That was, you know, mid-late April, okay, of 2021. Mid-late May of 2021. I have not heard from this chick in more than a month. It has been life without her. It has been fantastic. My streams got back to normal. Everything was wonderful. She was streaming in Germany doing her thing, and it was all fine. One day, aren't you afraid of being sued by her? By what? For what? Telling my story of my life? Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? She filed a false police report on me. Sue me all you want. She fucking filed a false police report on me. Have fun trying suing me through Bangkok. Please, I live in Thailand. They're not coming for me over here. Please. Bitch, please. Anyway, a month later, I'm getting out of the shower one day, getting ready for my stream. And my mod, Ashley, DMs me like, hey, something's going on over on Lola's stream that you might want to check out. And I'm like, huh? Alright. So I sit down in my towel at my computer desk. I turn on her stream, and she's bawling into the camera, crying her eyes out, saying that I removed all of her followers from Twitch. She said that I hacked into her computer, I went to her account somehow, and just removed all of her followers. Alright? Hi, Shinui. Shinui's a real one, by the way. He always continued hanging out with me after all this nonsense. Shinui's a fucking real one. And also, he never brought it up once, too. Shinui, you're a real one, and I fucking love you, buddy. It was so cool to hang out with you at Canna Fair and shit, man. Good to see you, man. Really. Love you, man. Really. Really. Alright? That meant a lot to me. The people who stuck around, it really fucking meant a lot to me. Alright? Anyway. She starts saying that I removed all of her followers, and this had to have been Redempto. He had to have done this, you know. And so she like had a breakdown outside in public or something. I don't know how it went exactly. You know, I was just like, what the fuck? I was watching it. I typed in chat, what the fuck is going on? She's like, fuck you, Redempto, get the fuck out of here. And then she banned me. Small Talk Champion, hey there. So many memories. Welcome back. Welcome back, Shit Talk Champion. There's a lot of people who went away during this exact moment that I'm talking about right now. There's a lot of people who I watched in that chat cursing my name, who I thought were friends, who I thought were longtime viewers, who loved my channel and were friends with me and stuff like that, who completely turned on me that day. And it was one of the biggest heartbreaks I ever felt in my life. It was way more painful than splitting up with her. That was like a mitzvah. That was really painful. And I kind of feel like a few hundred people owe me a fucking apology after all this is coming out. It would be really nice to see some of those people come back. So, she went home, and then she continues her stream. I think she started stream again, like stopped it and started. I don't remember. It's been too many years for the details. I don't fully remember that shit, exactly how it went, but she then gets on this thing saying, like, I prepared some documents, and I wasn't going to say anything, but I know he did this to me. I know he hacked my account and removed my followers, so I'm going to come out and say this. He stole thousands of euros from me, and he took it all from my bank account. He hacked my bank account and took all my money from my credit card. All this. It was just saying all this shit that I did. I have proof that he did it. And then she said, here's the proof, and she showed the camera the proof, and it was literally a fucking Excel spreadsheet that she made, like her own little spreadsheet. There was nothing. And so, and it got a bunch of people against me as well. It was fucking crazy. It was insane. It was like her bank statements that showed like money withdrawn, which could have been anybody. It could have been her. It could have been just normal fucking use and shit like that. And then the rest of it, and there was nothing at all that would ever linked me to it in any way whatsoever, but people bought it. People bought it. And then she said, like, you know, and if you think I'm lying, blah, 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 whatever, I'm going to file a police report. So, Redempto, you're going to get deported. She said all that shit, and then she said, fuck you, and goodbye, and then she ended her stream. And I was like, okay, fuck. I don't know what the hell to do, so I guess I'm going to have to see what happens. So the next day, I did a stream. I was like, okay. And I did a stream. It was like 1 hour long where I just sat down and I told this story. Minus the Ingram stuff, because I left that stuff out because I was like, this has nothing to do with that. And I said to her, I wanted to have a clean break and I wanted to not do anything. I don't want the drama. I don't want any of that fucking shit. Let's just split and say nothing. And I held to that. But then she tried to cancel me. But then it was just like, I felt like if I say anything more, if I come out and say all this stuff, no one's gonna fucking believe me. There's no proof. It's just his word against hers, and everyone seems to be believing her. So if I say all this shit, they're gonna be like, who the fuck is Ingram? They're not gonna believe a fucking word I say. She will never show him on camera. But now there's proof that she's been doing this exact pattern again, and now I feel like I can actually have backup on my story. It's fucking wild, man. So then I make a stream where I do my whole statement. I say everything that happened minus the infidelity part. That's the only part I left out, is the infidelity part. That's the only part I left out. Which honestly, if that was in there, that would have been a bit better. That would have been a bit better. But it was terrible too, because right at the end of it, fucking Cook Sucks rated me with like 2,500 people, and I'm like, oh, this is appropriate. I think he knew what he was doing. I didn't find that to be very nice, but I don't know, maybe he was trying to help me by putting more eyes on it, me telling my side of the story and stuff, but then he went behind and streamed with her like a few days later or whatever, you know, so it's like, whatever, I don't know, man. It was a very confusing time for me, man. So I give my story, and I was like, that's it, I'm ending the stream, and then I raided Relic. Not Relic Chris, Relic, the clown who does the Urbex stuff. I love him. And I sat there, and I was sitting at my kitchen table like this afterwards, and I just watched on my phone Relic's stream until I fell asleep on my kitchen table like this. It was like 2 in the afternoon. I was so depressed.